Success.
Loading the busted side by side onto the busted trailer. At least it's cold. Got that going for us. Stan, you seen any buffalo?
Yes.
That's not supposed to look like that.
Swarovski Jeff located a nice bull, and we're gonna try to find him.
Let's kill it. All right, here we are. Buffalo somewhere over there. Stan's armed, ready to go. Tatanka.
Hey, what are you doing off the park?
Outside of this one church town, there's a gold dirt road to a whole lot of nothing. Got a deed to the land, but it ain't my ground. This is God's country. We pray for rain and thank Him when it's falling, 'cause it brings a grain and a little bit of money. We put it back in the plate, I guess that's why they call it God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-found Dixie whistle in the wind that'll get you heaven bound. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. We turn the dirt and work until the week's done. We take a break and break bread on Sunday, then do it all again, 'cause we're proud to be from God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-found Dixie whistle in the wind that'll get you heaven bound. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. God's country. I don't care what my headstone reads or what kind of pine wood box I end up in. When it's my time, lay me 6 feet deep in God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-found Dixie whistle in the wind that'll get you heaven bound. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. Yeah, I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back
or is it just that one spot?
I think this side's better. I'd stay in your same tracks, but then veer left.
It's momentum through it.
This is deep. Wow, piece of cake. Okay guys, I know you've seen a lot of videos and pictures, previous Ford trips up to the Kaibab for my 2020 Arizona bull bison hunt. So I just want to explain a little bit how the hunt kind of finished out. As you saw in the previous videos, we went up, had a great time. I was gung-ho from January 1st is when the hunt opened. We had from January 1st to the 10th of June. And I was chomping at the bit. Jeff and I were there New Year's Eve in Kanab, Utah, spent the night there. We spent the week hunting, first week of January, had a great time. Saw the one bull, small bull. Second trip was with Dad. Didn't have any luck in finding any bison or sign. Third and fourth trip with Kevin, we were just trying to get access to where the bison typically are. Snow was really deep this year. We had 2 feet of snow until mid-April. So I was just up checking every chance I could get, just trying to get in there. I wanted to kill a bison with their winter coat on it. I mean, I just wanted that big, furry, woolly hide. Because they're just absolutely beautiful. Once they start to run off in the summer, they're a little bit different look. But I wanted something in the winter time. So we just kept pushing. Even though everybody told us, you're not gonna find any bison, you're not gonna find any bison. I just kept pushing. And one thing we did learn about through this is we learned the area. We learned where we could go and access and things like that. So that definitely helped us in the end. So 5th trip up there, May 4th, took my brother Kyle and his son Bryson. We went up there Monday, got up there about noon, dropped camp, and headed out. Didn't find any bison Monday. Tuesday, didn't see any bison or sign. Wednesday was actually the best day so far. What I did with Kyle and Bryson, they were just on sign recon detail. They were just out looking for sign for me. and we had our inRange devices, so we were able to communicate if and when we found some sign or bison. So anyways, Wednesday morning, Kyle found some fresh bison sign in the bottom of a canyon where they had rolled, and kind of a dry wallow kind of thing, like what they do with elk. They just like to roll into that dirt and kind of cleans their hide, keeps the bugs off them, so on and so forth. So he found what was a herd, a lot of tracks, found a dry wallow, tracked him for a while, didn't find anything. Wednesday night, I went back over to that general area about a mile west and walked down to the park boundary, found the fresh sign. That's what you saw in the video previous, with all the footprints in the snow and the fresh sign, and the video of the bison in the trees there. I just cut the fresh sign, just followed him, tracked him down. It took me about an hour. At one point, right before I ran into him, I just lost their sign. I couldn't find it because of the pine needles and such, but I just I had my head down. I could smell them. They smelled just like a herd of cattle, really stinky. And I just couldn't figure out which direction the tracks were going. And I look up, and there, the herd of bison standing there 56 yards or so. Lead cows got me pegged. Calves are laying down. There was about 15 in that herd. Cows, 5 calves from this year, and 3 bulls, one about 3 years old. Nothing that I was looking to fill my tag with. But nonetheless, I actually ran into a herd of bison. It was a lot of fun, exciting. Really got the adrenaline pumping. Got the shakes out of it, which was my favorite drug. Is that feeling when you're standing that close to a wild animal on a hunt. So went back to camp that night, made a plan with Kyle. Thursday, we were going to, if we didn't see anything Thursday morning, we decided we were going to head home Thursday afternoon and come back when it warmed up a little bit. That bison come off the park a lot more when it's hotter. They come off for the salt in the water. And so I figured we'd just head home Thursday after lunch if we didn't see anything. One thing to note about this hunt, it is definitely a mental grind. I think up to this point, somewhere around 16 to 18 days what I spent hunting up there, hunting bison. And so besides January 1st, we saw that first bull. I hadn't seen fresh sign or a bison up until this point, really. So this was the first herd after 17 days or so of hunting. It's a mental grind. A lot of guys sit salt, a lot of guys sit water, or both. I sat a tank for 13 hours one day. It's just not me. I couldn't do it. I mean, if I had to, I would have, but I wanted to spot and stalk my bison. And so that was how I approached it. I walked the entire park boundary with the wind in my face, being real quiet, not to disturb those guys in the blinds, maneuver around those guys, not disturbing any hunters, being respectful of their situation. Then, let's see, Thursday morning, I went off to the east side, and Kyle went off to the west side just looking for fresh sign. He texted me sometime in the morning saying that he had cut some fresh tracks. I had no luck on the east side, really demoralized. Like I said, this hunt is just a mental grind, not physically demanding, but it definitely plays mind games with you. So I texted Becky on the inReach and told her that we were coming home that night, and I just have to come back up when the bison are coming off the park more. So anyways, we went back to lunch, have lunch at camp, and Kyle told me that he had cut some tracks and just started following them like I did the night before, and ended up locating and running into 3 small bulls, probably in that 2 to 3 year old range. Still nothing what I'm looking for. So, but a cool experience for him and his son to be able to see true free range wild bison out in the woods. And he also said there were a lot more tracks than just those 3. So, and also a large track, which means typically it's going to be a mature bull. So we talked about it, decided that we would go back, or talk about going back to that area that night. So I texted Becky, asked her if I could stay that night. She texted back saying, why don't you just stay, get it done so you don't have to go back up there again. She's been very patient with me, spent a lot of time and money and on this bison hunt, but she was very supportive of me, which I'll be forever grateful for. So we decided to go back to where Kyle had found that fresh sign that morning and ran into those bulls. And our plan was just to stretch out across along the road with our radios and just watch for bison to come across the park boundary. Where I was sitting, I was the furthest to the west. The park boundary was only 75 yards to the south of me. So, and also keep in mind there was another hunter to the west who had been hunting that area for a while. We didn't want to bump him or mess up his plans, so we just sat on the road quietly with the wind in our face for about 3 hours. We got there at 3, about 7 o'clock the wind shifted to our backs, and I felt it was very ineffective just to sit there literally on the park boundary with the wind in our backs. So I just picked up my stuff, went and grabbed Kyle, picked up Bryson. We're just walking down the road back to the truck. Planning on heading home in the morning, demoralized again that we hadn't seen anything. And as we're walking back to the truck, really not being that quiet, just at a normal pace, Bryson looks up all of a sudden and says, "Hey, there's bison right up there." And at first I thought he was just joking. And so we kind of stop, and sure enough, as we look up there, we could see him. Bryson's a little shorter than me and Kyle, so he could see underneath the trees and he could see their legs. And about that time, the bison just walked right out. A bull bison walked right out into the road and fed across the road. And so we just, stopped, sat down in the road, got our binos out, and started looking over the bison. One thing that I told myself 1,000 times is just be sure that it's a bull before you shoot, because it happens every year. Guys get excited. I totally get it. They end up shooting a cow and when they had a bull tag, or vice versa. So that's one thing that Game and Fish and really stressed is sex identification. Make sure you shoot the right one, because if you shoot the wrong one, your hunt's over and you just lost an opportunity of a lifetime. So I was very stressed out, I guess you could say, and very cognizant of I want to make sure it was a bull. So we sat there and looked at him for a minute. Definitely a bull. A really nice bull. It was something I was looking for. I wasn't looking for the giant, but I told myself I wasn't going to shoot a small one. I wanted a good representation of the species, and this bull standing right in front of me was definitely that. And about that time, Kyle noticed that there was a second bull to the right. He couldn't see him real well. He had his head down and there were some trees in the way. So I decided to slip my boots off, grab my binos and the gun, and sneak a little bit closer to try to identify the second bull before, I made the decision to take a shot. I snuck in about another 40, 45 yards closer to the bulls, sat down, pulled my binos up, started looking them over. They were very, very close. The second bull was a little bit bigger, I feel, a little bit more mass on the horns, and but possibly a little bit shorter horns. But his beard was incredible. It was really long, longer than the first bull. So I felt like he was a little bit older bull. But as far as body size, they were about the same. And so I was trying to make a decision, looking back and forth through the binoculars at him at 52 yards, like you need binoculars at 52 yards. But anyways, so I made my decision. I want to take the second bull. As I put the binoculars on the ground, the second bull saw me move. Even though bison don't have great eyesight, he saw me at 52 yards. And I picked up my gun, and I was kneeling at this point, and he had me pegged. So he's staring at me. Now he's quartering to me instead of broadside. And I pull the gun up, and I put the gun on him, and I'm shaking all over the place. I can't even hold the gun still on the whole entire animal, it seemed like. And I knew that wasn't even close to the kind of shot that I needed to take. I needed to steady myself. So I sat down and put my elbows on my knees to try to steady the shot. And I was hoping that he would just turn and allow it giving me a perfectly broadside shot. Even though I know that's at 45, 70, 325 grain bullet would have definitely done the job, but I didn't want to waste the meat. I'm really excited about the table fare aspect of this hunt too. I was really excited to get bison meat. So I just held for a while. But then I just got nervous because the other hunter behind us to the west would be coming out any minute in his truck. We're still legal shooting light, so I had that on my mind. I figured that he might turn and run, and this first bull was standing to his left, broadside, had no idea I was there with his head down feeding. He was completely clueless to what was going on. So I moved the gun over to him, and I was still shaking so bad I couldn't hold the gun, the sights on his vitals. It took me a second to slow my breathing, calm down, and I just did a slow trigger squeeze, just held where I needed to. The gun went off, and bison ran everywhere. Bison ran out from behind the trees, to the left, to the right. I didn't know that they were even there. So now in this little clearing, we have probably 20 bison, maybe more, standing there staring over my direction. And after I shot, the two bulls also ran. So I just came to my knees to see if I could get possibly, if I needed to get another shot off. And I don't know which bison's which. I mean, I can tell the two bulls, they only ran about 20 yards, but I had no idea which one I shot. And or really, for that matter, if I even hit him, I was still, you really second guess yourself in these situations that you made a good shot. But anyways, I wanted to try to put another, shot off if I could, but I couldn't identify which one was which. So I just trusted in the bullet that it would do its job, and let it do its work. I just sat there, and the bulls were staring at me. The cows were staring at me because they did see me when I came to my knees, because they had run down a little bit off of the rise, and the cows had had enough after about 30 seconds, and they all bolted off towards the park. Keep in mind the park's 250 yards to the south, and they're all running that way. They run down this little canyon that's maybe 75 feet deep, and I lose sight of them. So Bryce and Kyle come up behind me. We, high fives, hugs, all that kind of stuff. Tell them what happened. So we mark where I was sitting. We go over, we mark, find where the bull was standing when I shot him. And Kyle volunteered to go get the truck. As he walking back to the truck, the hunter to the west came by, picked him up, took him to the truck. They came back, gave us about an hour after the shot. Me and Bryson looked for blood the entire time. Couldn't find any blood. These animals have incredibly thick hair, so they don't really bleed out. The hair just really mops it up. And so anyways, once Kyle got back there with the other hunter, his name's Dave, he's from Chino Valley. At this time, he's still up there hunting. I'm sure he'll get one. I just told him we're not looking for blood, we're looking for a bull. So you guys go to the right side of the canyon, I'm gonna go to the left side, and we're gonna go to the park boundary. Once we hit the park boundary, we had our Onyx up. As soon as we hit the park boundary, we gotta make a phone call to Game and Fish if we don't find them. So we just started heading that way. Maybe 100 yards from where the bull was standing when I shot him, we found him dead. Walking up on this bull was absolutely incredible. No ground shrinkage. He was actually, I thought, a little bit bigger than what I remember. I couldn't be happier. He was exactly what I was looking for. Mature bull bison. He still had his winter coat, which I was super excited about. And, I got to have my brother and nephew there with me. Little side note, we found the bull at 8:45, started processing at 9:45 after all the pictures, and we finished at 4:45 in the morning. We actually heard other hunters coming into their blinds as we were just finishing caping out the skull. So from 9:45 to 4:45 in the morning, all three of us working hard. We've processed a lot of elk, a lot of deer, and this thing is a whole nother game. Just huge animal. Anyways, so we went back to camp, ate breakfast, Kyle ran to Kanab for 25 bags of ice to put in my bison cooler that you saw the video, and we broke camp down, went back, picked up the meat, threw the meat in the bison cooler, or as we call it, the Betty, and headed home. It's 100-degree temperatures once you leave Flagstaff, 90 going from the Kaibab to Flagstaff, a little cooler going through Flagstaff. Once you drop off Flagstaff, you're into 100-degree temperatures. That bison cooler, Betty did amazing, kept the meat completely cool. Dropped the meat off at 7 o'clock that night. So we'd been up since 4:30 the previous morning, and it was an incredible experience. Thank you, Jeff, Dad, and Kevin, and Kyle and Bryson for going on this hunt with me and experience this amazing opportunity to harvest a free-range wild bison. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the videos and the pictures. I know it's a little long, but I want to capture the entire thing, not only for my friends, but for my family, kids, grandkids later on in life, to share this awesome experience.